Law 6, Robert Greene informs us to create an air of mystery. You don't want to be figured out, be outrageous, or create an aura of mystery. Any attention, positive or negative, is better than being ignored. Attention brings wealth. The minute you see how unbeneficial it is for you to be in your head concerning yourself with what someone else is pondering in their head, you'll never do it again. As soon as you see the idiocracy of it, as soon as you see that you are inside of yourself trying to formulate a conclusion when you have no factual data, the only voices that you hear telling you what they're thinking is the legion of voices inside of you led by your own ego that has always led you in circles into your own destruction. I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret because it doesn't seem that many people are aware of it. I don't know this because I'm so smart. I know it because I was introduced to the information and I have by experience, not intellect, found it to be true. You can change your facial expressions. You can be completely upset and put a smile on. You can be down and pick your shoulders up and poke your chest out and pretend to be bold and brave. You can be scared and be the first to go. But you know what you can't do? You know what none of us are capable of? Not one single human is capable of hiding the way they feel from one who knows how to interpret what is being deposited in the energy field. When you know who you are and you have dealt with all of your weird, vain imaginations of who you think other people may be, when you have silenced your suspicions, when you are no longer afraid of people possibly trying to attack and harm you, you can see people for who they are. You can interpret their actions based upon the motive that is not seen, rather than harping on the account of what was done. You were not designed to follow your feelings. You were not called to walk by sight. You were beckoned to walk by faith. The things that you see are a reflection of the illusions and the misbeliefs that you have partnered with. The things that you see on the earthly physical plane are not representatives of truth, unless you have paired your life with it, taken accountability for the delusion and dysfunction that you have lived by previously, put those things behind yourself, moved beyond judgment of yourself, moved beyond persecution of yourself, moved beyond condemnation, moved beyond guilt and shame, and genuinely forgiving yourself for the miscreations of your past, move forward in the truth freely. And then you can look over at somebody who is trying their hardest to hide the way they really feel, and you will see the truth of them. You will no longer project the dysfunction from the inside of you onto the people that you meet. You will no longer be looking for signs of them being like the last person that you paired yourself with, so that you call to yourself the experience of old. Good attention and bad attention, Robert Greene says, are both good in the sense that they are better than being ignored. Listen, if all you have is dysfunction and delusions to give me, I'd rather you not give me anything. I'd rather you stay completely away from me if the only thing you have to offer me is illusions and fear, and your idea of separation, and your idea of the way things should be. I don't care about your opinion. I don't really care about your perspective, because it's just like mine. It's flawed, it's divisive, it's deceptive, it's manipulative, and it's not to be followed. I'm not taking a shot at you. I'm not saying that you are not capable of seeing the truth, identifying it, diagnosing it, and correcting it. What I'm saying is none of us are. If we were capable of doing such a thing, there would not be so many of us in crisis, and there would not be so many of us healing from previous crisis. We would have never needed the healing. We would never have had to go out and seek knowledge to get us happy again, because we had forgotten, because we had been in a dream that became a nightmare for so long that we forgot the truth that was embedded in us prior to our birth. Can't even say from birth, prior to our birth. You should just own up to it, because at this point you're aware of it. You have some weird appetites. There are some strange things, some things that aren't even of the kingdom, that aren't even natural to your existence and your design, that you crave and desire. You do want to live at peace. You do want to have abundance and joy that flows to you from an internal, eternal source. But you also want to be rich and relevant. You also don't want to be left out of the people listed as prominent and prevalent around the place where you operate. You love acknowledgement, even though you shy away from it every time it comes. You work really hard for those moments that you shy away from. You feel a certain type of way on the inside, even though you know not to communicate it. And that's what makes it really hard for us to grow, is we have become such great actors and actresses. We know the script. We know what is sociably right and sociably unacceptable. And we follow the handbook rigorously, the one that has never been distributed, never been passed out, but everyone seems to know. I sneeze, you say thank you. I'm disrespectful or have a lack of manners or was poorly raised if I don't say, let's not act like there's not a script, like there's not a set bounds that we're supposed to operate in socially. And let's not act like we don't look at people strange and you don't receive rejection and kickback for not playing the social game of the masses. Attention brings wealth. What is wealth? The definition for wealth is an abundance of valuable possessions or money, the state of being rich, material prosperity, plentiful supplies of a particular resource. The pursuit of money shows an ignorance of the promise that was extended to you and I before we were ever dropped into the physical experience. There is no reason for you and I to ever chase what has been given to us freely. You have let people put chains on your neck. You have allowed for people to tell you what time you're going to wake up, what time you're going to eat lunch, what time you're going to get back to raising your children. All for $1, all for some money, all to be materialistically prosperous, all to have physical riches that others have not been able to obtain. And I just wonder, have you ever asked yourself, why is it that you want such things? I know that you tell yourself, just like I used to tell myself, that you don't even want these things so that you can do nice things for yourself or that you can have nice things that other people don't have. I understand that you have this idea that the moment that you get rich, the moment that you get an abundance of money, you're going to become selfless. You're going to become a person that's just interested in fixing everybody else's problems. You're going to extend yourself to the same people who you jumped on the phone with, your other friends and your other relatives, and talked about not supporting you through your hard times. You're just going to become this grandest, happy, cheerful person on this imaginary day when you get this imaginary money. And I'm telling you, just like that imaginary money and that imaginary day, that imaginary you is all just a figmentation of your imagination. We are constantly running vain pictures across our palette. we're partnering our attention with it and calling it into the physical, and then complaining about the presence of the very thing that we pictured on the inside of ourselves and called to ourselves by our attention. Robert Greene is absolutely correct. Attention can bring wealth, but attention can also lead to the experience of the illusionary state of poverty. And there are a lot of people in the illusionary state of poverty, realistically and factually experiencing the hardships that come with believing that you need to produce for yourself or you won't have. Partnering with the idea that they had lack to begin with, that there was separation that needed to be dealt with, coming up with plans to close those gaps, finding themselves by giving attention to those things that don't even truly exist, further and further away from the experience of abundance, truth, peace, and proximity. Any attention, positive or negative, is better than being ignored, Robert Greene presents us. And I just wonder when you're gonna get tired of wasting your attention on other people extending their attention on you. Understand, all earthly attention is valueless in the conversation of eternal truth and universal principle. And that's all that really matters, right? Everything else is but a game, but a dream, but an imagination. Something that exists temporarily and then passes. You spend a lot of your time trying to garnish the attention of other people only to eventually lose it and have a negative reaction about no longer having it. And then you start the cycle all over again by finding a new person to give your attention to and to pull attention from. And you start watching them for the signs of being like the last person. And you start speaking about how the last person mismanaged and misused and mishandled your attention out of a fear that this person may begin to operate along the same spectrum. And because of the attention that you put on what you don't want, not knowing that your attention is the power and the source that was given to you as the gift to have whatever you desire and whatever you ask for, but because you don't understand what it is to ask universal source for something, and you don't understand what it is to really desire something, you believe the stuff that be coming out of your mouth. You believe the stuff that be coming out of your mouth still. You believe yourself when you say, I want to be better, I'm trying. If you were genuinely trying, you would genuinely have put together a plan to attack your dysfunction. You would be taking accountability for it. You would be owning up to it. You would be the first to admit that previously you have done things that were not advantageous to the partnerships that you have been in or that you are in. And you would build a plan without anybody having to ask you to or anybody having to tell you to attack the things that you have identified as non-beneficial and non-constructive to the progress of the things that you actually want. But you don't really want a lot of those relationships. You just want the attention and the admiration and the flattery that comes from those partnerships. You don't genuinely care about the other person. So when they pull the flattery away, they pull the attention away, even if they're still physically present in your experience, you're not satisfied because it's not them that you're after. It's what you have become dependent on them for, whatever that may be. Protection, conversation, sex. Like, we can be petty. Money, time, attention, flattery, Like we can be really petty with this, especially when we're insecure and we're in a broken state where we have not identified the value in ourselves, where we don't know the worth in ourselves, or we don't know the worth of our experience on the physical plane. We will extend ourselves to people who just tell us nice things, treat us terribly, but tell us that they appreciate us along the way. And because ain't nobody even said that to us in the past, we extend ourselves further to get more of a feeling that we crave, convinced that we care about the person that's extending the feeling to us. Create an air of mystery. Don't waste your time. I understand what Robert Greene was saying. In the physical plane, where there is a competition, you absolutely want to do everything that you can to keep your opponents from knowing your genuine plans and intentions. If we were playing a football game and I was the coach and my team was on offense, I wouldn't go over and tell the coach of the defensive team the play that we were about to run. I would hold my clipboard over my face so that they couldn't see the play that I was calling. I would operate in complete secrecy. The element of surprise is really, really important in competition. But in the realm of truth, where the last shall be first, and there's no need for me to try to behead you to get ahead. There's no need for competition, so there's no need for me to misscrew my read. There's no need for me to try to hide the way I genuinely feel, or the energy that I'm operating with, or what it is that my intentions are, or where it is that I'm going from you. If I'm going somewhere beneficial and constructive and I'm operating from a standpoint of love, I want you to know where I'm going. I want you to see it, and I want you not to follow me, but I want you to come along, because where it is that I'm going has value, not just for me, but for you as well. I don't have to operate in the dark when my intentions appear. I don't have to live off the grid when my life is in alignment with universal source and I'm walking in accordance with my design and my genuine nature. The legion of voices will always lead you in the shadows. The intent is always preservation, always survival. So you can't afford to listen to the counsel of the fearful. Thou shalt not take the counsel of the ungodly was not a passage intended to be taken as I won't listen to anybody who doesn't go to church services at 11 o'clock on Sundays, or doesn't attend Wednesday prayer meeting, or I won't listen to anybody who's not familiar with the particular sect of religion that I govern and dictate my life by. That's not what the passage was saying. The passage is universal. I understand that religion has hijacked the truth and is using universal knowledge and truth to build cults and sects of religious groups that come together and keep each other comfortable in their delusion and dysfunction. But the passage is universal. Thou shalt not walk in the counsel of the ungodly. It was not the voices on the outside that are ungodly. The only things that are ungodly are the things that are illusionary. The only things that are illusionary are the things that stem from the illusionist. The illusionist is your ego. Thou shalt not walk in the counsel of the ego. Thou shalt not sit and listen and entertain and follow the voices of the legion to doom. When that's all you have, when that's all you hear, when you can't register the voice of God, the clear whisper of truth and peace, when all you have is the chatter of the legion of voices, sit and do nothing and let them pass. They will pass. They will cease. And when they stop, you'll be able to see clearly, and you'll be able to discover the divine answer for whatever you have found yourself in. For you are more than an overcomer. This is not religion. This is fact. Lock in.